Welcome to another explainer. We usually rely on our bodies to yell at us when something's wrong, right? Like getting a sudden fever when you have an infection. But what happens when a major threat sneaks into your system completely silently? Today, we're unraveling the silent mystery of prediabetes. We're going to piece together the hidden clues to solve this case before it's too late. Okay, let's dive into this, because this quote from diabetes specialist Dr. Dilip Verma really hits the nail on the head. He hears this literally all the time from his patients. People walk into the clinic feeling totally fine, just living their normal everyday lives, and boom, they're told their body is secretly sounding a massive internal alarm. It's wild, right? It's a total paradox. How on earth can a disease take root without triggering the usual sirens? Well, that question is exactly what makes prediabetes so incredibly tricky, and why we absolutely need to decode it today. To get to the bottom of this, we first need to set our baseline. So prediabetes is this weird, in-between space. It's a gray area where your blood sugar levels are definitely higher than normal, but they haven't quite crossed that line into full-blown type 2 diabetes yet. I like to think of it as a blinking yellow traffic light. It's this absolutely crucial window where your body is flashing a warning, telling you to slow down and change course. It actually gives you a real chance to rewrite your biological destiny before that light turns red.
So I want to challenge you directly for a second. How can you actually be sick when you feel perfectly fine? Seriously, do a quick mental audit of your own health right now. We're so hardwired to think that being sick means being in pain, coughing, or just being stuck in bed. But what if the illness is just a tiny, microscopic glitch happening right inside your bloodstream at this exact moment? Let's pop the hood and look at the actual mechanics causing this invisible malfunction.
And this brilliantly illustrates the exact scene of the crime. Look at the left side, normal function. You eat, the food turns into sugars, and your pancreas releases a hormone called insulin. Basically, insulin is the key that tells your cells to unlock, open up, and turn that sugar into energy. Simple enough, right? But check out the right side, insulin resistance. This is where the lock gets jammed. The insulin is right there, ready to go, but the cells, they just ignore it. Because the door stays shut, all that sugar dangerously piles up in your bloodstream. Your pancreas starts panicking, pumping out more and more insulin, desperately trying to force those doors open, until it literally wears itself out. It's exactly like an overworked employee pulling back-to-back all-nighters.
Now, while this microscopic battle is raging, the victim, which is you, usually feels absolutely zero pain. But make no mistake, the Mayo Clinic points out that the long-term damage is already stealthily creeping up in the background. That extra sugar sitting in your blood acts almost like tiny microscopic shards of glass over time, quietly scraping up and damaging your heart, your blood vessels, and your kidneys. Crazy enough, it's even linked to unrecognized, totally silent heart attacks. So the crime is well underway, even without a single visible scratch.
But if you know where to look, the body does occasionally leave fingerprints. So put on your detective hat for a minute and check out these routine clues. Are you finding yourself reaching for water way more often? Or maybe waking up a bunch of times at night to use the bathroom? That's actually your kidneys working overtime to flush out that extra sugar. What about constant unexplained fatigue, even when you slept great? Look, it's super easy to blame that stuff on getting older, stress, or just another exhausting meeting. But these rapid-fire daily symptoms, they're your body's fingerprints. They're subtle hints that your insulin-resistant cells are basically starving for energy.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is one of the most surprising and visual red flags that doctors actually hunt for. It's called acanthosis nigricans. We're talking about these dark, kind of velvety patches of skin that can suddenly show up around the neck, under the arms, on the elbows, or the groin area. And listen, it's not dirt, and it's definitely not your standard rash. It's a direct physical manifestation of insulin resistance literally painting itself onto the canvas of your skin. It's basically your body frantically waving a flag begging for some attention. Then we have the weight loss mystery. Dr. Verma points out that patients constantly come to him super frustrated saying, "Doc, I'm trying everything to lose weight, but literally nothing works. If you're eating right, hitting the gym, doing everything by the book to shed pounds, especially around the belly, and you're just hitting a brick wall, you might be fighting a rigged battle." The real culprit could very well be that hidden mechanism of insulin resistance, just stubbornly locking away your progress and making weight management chemically so much harder.
Of course, every good investigation needs a lineup of the usual suspects. Mayo Clinic expert Dr. Eliana DeFilippis explains that sure, anyone can become insulin resistant, but there are specific factors that drastically multiply the danger. Being overweight, being over 35, or just living a really sedentary lifestyle are the big ones. But genetics play a massive role too. Having a family history of type 2 diabetes or belonging to specific ancestries like Black, Hispanic, American Indian, or Asian American statistically bumps up your risk. Even your sleep matters. Things like obstructive sleep apnea are known accomplices in this whole set.
Take a look at these two numbers, 40 and 35. Nope, those aren't ages, they are inches, specifically waistline measurements. A waistline over 40 inches for men or 35 inches for women is a massive flashing neon clue pointing towards severe insulin resistance. See that fatty tissue sitting inside and between the muscle and skin around your midsection? It actively makes your cells more resistant to insulin. So honestly, a simple tape measure around your waist is sometimes a way better diagnostic tool than stepping on a scale.
Now, when you combine that larger waistline with a few other bad actors, you end up with this master accomplice, known as metabolic syndrome. It's a pretty dangerous cluster. High blood pressure, low HDL, which is the good cholesterol, high triglycerides, high blood sugar, and that expanded waist size we just talked about. If you get 3 or more of these conditions teaming up, it's bad news. They act as a total accelerant, dramatically spiking your risk, not just for diabetes, but for severe heart disease and major strokes. So the crucial point is this. Because these symptoms can be completely invisible, you absolutely cannot rely on how you feel to solve this mystery. You need hard clinical proof. Specific blood tests, like the A1C test, which gives an average of your blood sugar over a few months, are the only real way to crack the case. The prediabetes range for A1C sits right between 5.7 and 6.3%. Fasting blood sugar and oral glucose tolerance tests also give exact biological snapshots. If you match up with the risk factors we went over, getting these tests done is the ultimate detective work.
Now, finding out you have a condition is usually pretty scary. But actually, scratch that. I want to shift the tone here, because this quote from Dr. Verma is incredibly empowering. He says, prediabetes should not be viewed as bad news. It should be viewed as a warning sign and, more importantly, an opportunity. Think about it. Unlike so many medical mysteries where a diagnosis means the damage is already done, finding this specific culprit early, it means you have the power to stop the crime from ever happening. Progressing to full-blown type 2 diabetes is absolutely not inevitable.
Let's move to and see how this builds into an actionable defense plan. And spoiler alert, reversing insulin resistance doesn't mean you have to starve yourself or start running ultramarathons. Actually, the Mayo Clinic and the CDC point out that extreme drastic measures can backfire. Instead, just look at these steps. Eat healthier foods. Move your body in ways that actually feel good every day. Manage your stress levels and get some sleep. It's really just about simple, consistent habits that gently coax those stubborn cells into opening their doors to insulin once again.
Which brings us to the end of our investigation. We've gone over the suspect profile, the hidden mechanisms, and the exact tools you need to crack the case. But the final piece of this puzzle? Well, that's entirely up to you. Your body might be quietly whispering its clues right now in the background. So the real question is, are you paying attention? Thanks for joining me, Focus Learners, and I'll see you in the next explainer.